Okay, so what did you think of the video? So there was just a couple of things that are on the video that introduce you to different parts of Australia. But today I'll be talking about many different things, so I hope you can listen well. Okay, so a little bit about myself before we get started. So my name is Michael Ngo의, and I'm 27 years old. And I'm from Sydney, Australia. And I teach, I've lived in Korea for 3 years. So I've been here since August 2012. And I teach at 3 elementary schools in Cheongju. So who here is from Cheongju? Who lives in Cheongju? Okay, so maybe you've seen me around, maybe not. Okay, so in my family there are 4 people. This is my mom, my younger brother, and my father. And this was before I left to come to Korea in 2012. And this was last year in January when I went to visit my family. So no one's changed except me. I changed my hair. Okay, so there are some different things in Australia, such as the kindergarten and elementary school system. So all of you would have gone through elementary school, and you would have been able to wear your own clothes. But in Australia, we have uniforms, so dresses for girls and shirt and shorts for boys. And actually, this is my kindergarten photo. Can you see me in the picture? So I'm not this one. I am here in the middle. So this is me when I was in kindergarten, 1994, a long time ago. Okay, so. I want to talk to you about Australia. So right now we live in South Korea, right? Right here. And Australia is south of South Korea. Okay. And the plane ride here directly to Sydney is about 10 hours. So has anyone been to Australia before? 2? 3? Plane ride is really long. Okay. So I want to talk about the population. So does anyone know how many people live in Korea? Can you guess? So the population of Korea is about 49.3 million. Okay, 49.3 million as of this year. And can anyone guess how many people live in Australia? It's about half of this. Okay. So about 26.3 million. 23.8 million. And also, what about the area? So have a look at the map. So Korea is a really small country, right? And Australia is pretty big. So can you guess, how big is Korea? So it's about 100,000 square kilometers, okay? And Australia is about 7,600,000 square kilometers. So it's really, really big. But our population is almost half of Korea's. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about the Australian national flag. So this is our national flag, and we do take some parts of it from England, British, the United Kingdom. Okay, so the first thing we took was the Union Jack, because Australia was founded by the British. So we had to, and we are also a Commonwealth state, so we have to keep the Union Jack as a representation of the British country. Also, the Commonwealth Star, this is a really important piece on the flag because there are 7 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they represent the states and territories in Australia. Okay? And also the last thing is the Southern Cross constellation. So this constellation is only visible in the southern hemisphere. Okay? So we currently live in the northern hemisphere, but you can only see this constellation in the southern hemisphere. So Australia was founded first colonized in 1788, so by Captain James Cook. So he came around the north side of Australia and landed in Sydney, which is now in Botany Bay. Okay, so does anyone know about the states and territories of Australia? So I saw that there was 5 or 6 people that have been to Australia before. Do you remember which state you went to? Just shout it out. Nobody? Okay, well let's start with the first one. I'm from New South Wales, so this is where I'm from. So New South Wales capital is Sydney, which is on the eastern coast. Okay? And the other states and territories, maybe you've heard of Melbourne. Melbourne is in Victoria. Victoria is right next to New South Wales. And a really popular destination for a lot of tourists is Queensland because it's very warm and tropical. And we also have one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, the Great Barrier Reef, which is on the eastern coast. We also have South Australia, the Northern Territory, Perth, Western Australia, and Tasmania. And a lot of people don't know this, but the capital of Australia is not New South Wales or Victoria. We have a separate state called the Australian Capital Territory. So this is where a lot of the parliament happens, where they make laws, they try to change legislation, and this is a separate territory within New South Wales. So these states and territories are very similar to Korea. We have Chungcheongbuk-do, Gyeonggi-do, etc., etc. Okay? So these are like those. And like I said before, one of the natural 7 wonders of the world is the Great Barrier Reef. But nowadays, due to pollution and global warming, the Great Barrier Reef is dying, okay, because it's a living natural resource. And because Australia is surrounded by 7 different seas, Indian Ocean, Timor Sea, Arctic Sea, Coral Sea, South Pacific Ocean, Tasman Sea, and the Southern Ocean, we are an island. Okay? And we are the only island continent in the world because of the 7 seas surrounding us. Okay, so how's the weather in Australia? So where I'm from, it's over here. The northern part of Australia is very, very hot because it's closer to the equator. Okay? And just below a little bit further south, it's very hot and humid. So very similar to the weather in Korea. And then see the yellow part? This is the hot part, so it's hot and dry. And also, this is mainly desert, the red part. This is very, very dry. So the reason why our population is a little bit lower than Korea's is because a lot of this area is uninhabitable. You can't live there because it's too hot and it gets too cold during the night. Okay? And where I'm from, it's very warm and nice. So a lot of people live in the central part of these states because it's near the ocean, near the sea, and it's cooler, and a lot of people really enjoy, I guess, the natural beauty of the states. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about Aboriginals, or Indigenous Australians. So they're represented in Australia. So when Captain James Cook first came to Australia, he met these Indigenous Australians, and he tried to get along with them and try to understand them a bit more. But today, the Aboriginals are also represented by a flag, so they have their own flag. Okay? So this represents their community, their culture. So this is the yellow part represents the sun, the black part represents the night, and the red part represents the land. Okay, so this is the representation of what Australia is. We have night and land and the sun, which is part of their culture as well. So nowadays, Aboriginal Australians only represent 2% of the population, which is really, really low, considering Australians, the total population of Australia is about 23.8 million. Okay, so it's very low. So a lot of the souvenirs you can buy from Australia, this is very popular, is some Aboriginal art. So Aboriginal art uses dot style painting a lot with the natural earth colors because they represent Australia and the land. And a lot of them, you can see different animals. So can you guess what this one is? Yeah, it's a snake. And what about this one? You can only see the butt. Yeah, that's a big kangaroo and fish and platypus and emu. And I'll talk a little bit more about some Australian animals later. Okay, so some Aboriginal items. We're going to have a look at some traditional musical instruments and also some tools that Aboriginals created. So this is a didgeridoo. Okay, so let's practice the vocabulary together. Everybody, didgeridoo. Didgeridoo. So this is a woodwind instrument. You play it by blowing through the mouthpiece and it produces a sound. And I want to show you a video of what the didgeridoo sounds like, because maybe some of you have not heard it before. So this is an Aboriginal playing the didgeridoo. And we'll just watch a little bit, maybe 30 seconds. Okay, so the sound that is produced by the didgeridoo is all controlled by the throat or the wind and your lungs, because there are no holes in the didgeridoo. You control the sounds that are created with your mouth. Okay? So it's similar to a clarinet, flute or something, but we don't have the holes. They don't have the holes. Okay, so some other Aboriginal items maybe you've seen before. Next one is a boomerang. So everyone, let's practice together. Boomerang. 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 So the Aboriginals created this, and it was first used for hunting, but nowadays a lot of people use it for playtime. They play with the boomerang because it circles back and comes back to you. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Australian coat of arms. So this is the representation of Australia on our passports and also our driver's licenses. Okay, so there are some different key points on this coat of arms. The first thing I want to talk about is the Commonwealth Star. So we saw this earlier on the flag. So this represents Australia and the 7 states and territories. Okay? The next thing is the two animals, the kangaroo and emu. And the reason why these are representations of Australia are because they are natural they are natural fauna found in Australia. So fauna is animals. Okay? And the reason why they chose the kangaroo and emu is they can only walk forwards. They can't walk backwards. So this very represents that Australia always wants to keep moving forward. Okay? Progression. The next thing are the state badges. So these are 6 different representations of the states and territories. Okay. And the last thing is the golden wattle. So this is the natural flora that is found in Australia, natural flower plants. Okay, so in Australia we have a lot of tourist destinations as well. So along the east coast of Australia, there are about 47 big things. So they like to build big things. The first thing that's very popular is called the Big Banana. Okay? And also, in the middle of Australia, there's a famous rock called Uluru, or Ayers Rock. Okay. So let's practice the vocabulary together. Everybody, Ayers Rock.
Ayers Rock.
Uluru.
Uluru.
So Uluru is the traditional Aboriginal name for this rock. And also, like we saw before, the Great Barrier Reef. So this is the live coral and fish that live there. So because I'm from Sydney, I want to talk a little bit more about where I'm from. So do you know what this is? The Harbour Bridge. But because it's in Sydney, it's called the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Okay. So interesting fact, I used to travel across this bridge every day to go to university. There are 8 lanes for cars and 2 train lines that go across the bridge that connects the CBD to North Sydney. Okay. And the next one, do you know what this is? Opera House, and because it's in Sydney, it's called the Sydney Opera House. Okay, and actually there are lots of plays and performances and concerts that are held here. If you like classical music, you can come here and listen. And another interesting fact: when I was in high school, I got to perform at the Sydney Opera House with my choir. Okay. And also, last thing from Sydney, do you want to know what this is? It's the tower. So because it's in Sydney, it's called the Sydney Tower. And the Sydney Tower is the tallest building in Sydney at 187 meters. And actually, inside the tower, there are 2 restaurants, 1 buffet, 1 fine dining, and level 3 is an observation deck, and level 4 are offices. And actually, another interesting fact, I used to waiter at the fine dining restaurant. It was very beautiful. You can see all over Sydney. Okay. So some interesting animals that you might not have heard of. So in Australia, we have a special type of animal called the monotreme. Okay, monotremes. So monotremes are warm-blooded, but they lay eggs. Very interesting. So the first one is a platypus. So maybe you've heard of this before. This is the duckbill platypus, and actually, interestingly, when they first found this animal and brought it back to England, they thought they just stuck a duck bill on a dog, and it was very interesting. So this is called the platypus, or the Ornithorhynchus anatomus, for those who study science or biology. And we also have an echidna. So this is a spiked mammal. Echidna, or the Tachylogosidae. Sorry for my pronunciation. Not a science major. Okay, and they lay eggs. So humans, we give birth to live babies, right? And also some other actually all mammals give birth to live young. So they actually lay their eggs and they hatch from them. They're warm-blooded, but they lay eggs. Okay, so another interesting animal is the kookaburra. Let's practice the vocabulary together. Everybody, kookaburra. So this animal is very, very interesting because as a bird, lots of birds sing, right? This one laughs. So it likes to laugh instead of sing. And I will show you a video of kookaburra laughing. You might think it's a little bit funny now, but this is considered Australia's alarm clock. So you wake up to kookaburras laughing in the background. So sometimes it's really annoying. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about Korea and the differences and similarities between Australia and Korea. So the first thing, in Korea we use won, right, for our currency system. In Australia we use dollar, so we have an Australian dollar. And I checked the prices last week. As of 2015, September 10, 1 Australian dollar buys 840 Korean won, and 1,000 Korean won buys $1.20 Australian. So if you are planning on going to Australia, now is a good time because the Korean won is very strong. Okay. So some Australian money that you might have seen before. So we also use cents. So these are our coins in Australia. So we have the 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, $1, $2. And each of these coins has a representation of something that is Australian. So the first one is, can you guess? We saw it before. Echidna. It's an echidna. The 10-cent coin has the lyrebird, which is also an Australian natural fauna. And the 20-cent has the platypus that we saw before. 50 cent has the coat of arms, so we saw the kangaroo and the emu. The dollar has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kangaroos. And the $2 coin has an aboriginal, an indigenous Australian. Okay. So the $1, when I first came, was about equal to $1. And 50 cent is about $500. Okay, so if you want to compare those. So we stopped using 1 cent and 2 cents in 1994. So the 1 cent had the possum and the 2 cent had the frilled neck lizard. So these are very rare coins now. If you find them, you can take them to the bank and they will deposit it into your account, or you can keep them as a collector's item. Okay, so in Australia we also have some paper money. So we have $5, $10, $50, $20, and $100. So, and also this $5 is very special because they only produced this in 2001, the centenary of Federation. So this was a very rare bill that they produced only for 1 year. Okay, so I actually have 10 of these in Korea because I collected them. So yeah, so $10 when I first came was about 만원, and $20 2만원, $50 5만원, and $100 10만원. So this one is also very high value. And interesting point, each paper, each bill is a little bit longer in width. So it's a little bit longer. Okay. Oh, and one other thing, Australian money is actually made out of a polymer, so plastic. So you can wash this, you can scrunch it up, and it will be fine. You can use it. Okay. So I want to talk about price comparisons. So in Korea, water is considered very cheap, right? So one bottle is about 600 won, maybe, about 600, which is about 70 cents in Australian money. And also, in Australia, bottled water, especially for this brand, is very expensive. One bottle is about $2.80. So about 2,350 won. Oh my God. Yeah, so it's a little bit expensive. And if you like sugary drinks, Coca-Cola. So the same bottle of Coke, 600 milliliters, in Korea is about 1,800 won, right, at the convenience store, which is about $2.15. But in Australia, at the same convenience store, like 7-Eleven, it's about $3.50. So 2,920. Very expensive. And does anyone here smoke? No? Okay, that's good. So in Korea, a box of cigarettes is about 4,500 won. Okay, but in Australia, we don't have the branding and we don't have the advertisements. We have a plain box with the brand and also a warning as well. So this was introduced as law recently, that all cigarette packets should look like this. Because we have a very high population that like to smoke. And in Australia, it's about $18 for 1 month. So if you go to Australia and you want to smoke, it will cost you about 15,061. Very expensive. This is because of the tax that was introduced for Australia. Okay. So maybe some of you use a lot of these things in everyday life. I want to talk a little bit more about Australian inventions. So who here knows what this is? It's a refrigerator. So this was made in the 1850s. It was invented in Australia by a man, okay, at the CICC. And the second thing, can you guess what this is? Not a notebook, this is a notepad. Okay, notepad. And this was invented in 1902. And maybe some of you are very unfamiliar with this. Do you know what this is? I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with your heart. Maybe you don't know the word in English, but it's called a pacemaker. So this keeps the heart going. Okay, so this was invented in 1920 in Australia. And what about this? Do you know what this is? I'll give you a hint. It's used in planes. Yes, black box. So this is a black box. And this was invented in Australia in 1957. Okay? So every plane nowadays is fitted with a black box. And you can thank Australia for creating this. And two more. Do you know what this is? Wi-Fi! Yeah, Wi-Fi. So this was invented in Australia in 1997. So in Korea, Wi-Fi is very important, right? Because you want to be connected to social media and Kakao. So you can thank Australia for making Wi-Fi. And the last thing, do you know what this is? It's a baby capsule. So this is used in cars to keep the baby seated or safe. Okay? And this was invented in 1984. Okay, so in Australia, there are a lot of different people. So we are considered a multicultural community, multicultural country. So in 2011, they did a study. 1 in 4 people that live in Australia were either born overseas or had parents that were born overseas. Okay, so 1 in 4 people. So a lot of them come from the UK, New Zealand, China, India, Italy, Vietnam, Philippines, South Africa, Malaysia, Germany, and etc. Okay, so all of these people migrated to Australia, and that is why now we are considered a multicultural society. Okay, so I want to show you a video about Australian language. So in Australia, there are 3 main types of accents. Okay, and maybe you can spot my accent in this video.
Generally speaking, there's 3 types of Australian accent. The first is the broad Australian accent would be, say for example, the typical Queensland accent or the very strong Australian accent.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
The next would be the general Australian accent, which for example I speak. So it's a little bit more of a neutral, less strong Australian accent.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
And then there's the cultivated Australian accent or the received pronunciation.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
So that's basically the 3 general types of Australian accent.
Okay.
Okay, so I just showed you a video about the different accents. So can you guess which one my one is? There's number 1, number 2, or number 3? 3? 2. Yeah, my accent is the general Australian accent. So the sentence they were practicing was, the rain in Maine falls mainly on the plain. So the first accent was very harsh. A lot of people find it difficult to understand that accent. So for example, if I started speaking to you like this, it'd be really difficult for you to understand. And also, the third accent was the cultivated accent. So this is more derived from the UK. So it's very posh, it's considered very cultured. So the sentence, the rain in Maine falls mainly on the plain, it sounds very nice to the ear. Okay? It's very soft and very nice to listen to. Okay, so we're going to practice some Australian vocabulary, some different things that you might have learned differently in school. So in Australia, please listen and repeat after me for the vocabulary. So the first one, supermarket. Supermarket. I know we have supermarkets here in Korea, but this is considered a supermarket in Australia. We don't have, well, we do have malls, but we call them something different. Okay, next one. Footpath. Footpath. So also we're learning Australian pronunciation, so we pronounce the A's a little bit more extended. So in American English, it would be said footpath, right? So in Australia we say footpath. Car park. Car park. So as you notice, the R is also a little bit more lazy in Australian accent. Okay. Trolley. Trolley. Nappy. Nappy. So nappy is what you put on the baby to collect. Soft drink. Soft drink. So soft drink is soda in American English. Arvo. Arvo. So we like to abbreviate a lot of things. So Arvo, can you guess what it is? Arvo is afternoon, or afternoon, if you learned it like that. So Arvo is afternoon. Snags. Snags. Snags are sausages, okay, that you barbecue or fry in the pan. Barbie. Barbie. So barbie is a barbecue, so you can cook steaks and sausages. Okay. Bloke. Bloke. So bloke just pretty much means a person that is a man. Okay, 남자. Or 아저씨. Bloke. Look at this bloke. Chook. Chook. Chook is chicken. Esky. Esky. So in Korea you would say icebox or a cooler, right? Or in America cooler. Esky. Kindi. Kindi. Can you guess what this is? Kindergarten or you too. Okay, kindi. Lollies. Lollies. So we don't call like hard candy or soft candy candy. We call it lollies. So growing up in Australia, can I have some lollies, please? Macca's. Macca's. So a lot of people growing up, McDonald's is way too long to say. So I don't want to go, oh, let's go get some McDonald's. Let's go get some Macca's. Very easy. Reckon. Reckon. So a lot of young people, especially in high school, do you reckon? Like, do you think? What do you think? This is what that means, reckon. What do you reckon? Rubbish. Rubbish. In American English, they would say trash. Okay? Or garbage, we say rubbish. Sunnies. Sunnies. Because sunglasses is too long. Sunnies. Can I borrow your sunnies, please? Do you have your sunnies? Uni. Uni. Like I said, university is way too long. Uni. Okay, so a lot of Australian English is abbreviated or changed into slang. So like, for example, Macca's and Sunnies. Okay? And so thank you for listening to my presentation.
잘 들었어요?
One more thing, I want to show you a Tourism Australia video about a little bit more about Australia. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
잘 들으셨나요? 선생님 레슨 재밌으셨죠? 영어로 말씀하셔서 좀 어려운 부분도 있었고 쉬운 부분도 있었고 그쵸? 요즘에 운동회 준비하고 축제 준비하느라고 바쁘죠? 바빠요? 자, 이렇게 바쁠 때도 또 이렇게 좋은 렉처 들으러 왔으니까 오늘 또 열심히 한번 이렇게 참여해 보고요. 우리 다시 한번 선생님께 마이클 노 선생님께 Thank you for your great lecture. 박수 한번 다시 보내드릴게요. 자, 그러면 지금부터 지금 11개 조거든요. 그래서 여기 튜터가 여기 있는 전체 하나씩 가져가셔서 잠깐 화장실 다녀온 후에 지금 이제 디베이트 시작해 볼게요. 한 10분 정도 화장실 얼른 다녀오신 다음에 5분 정도 빨리 다녀오신 다음에 바로 시작할게요. 튜터를 중심으로 해서
아까 아보리지널에서
asking why. We kissed, I fell under your fell in love, no one could deny. Don't you ever say I just walked away. I will always want you. I can't live a lie, running for my life. I will always want you. I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break your walls. All you ever did was wreck me. Yeah, you wrecked me. I put you high up in the sky, and now you're not coming down. It slowly turned, you let me burn, and now we're ashes on the ground. Don't you ever say I just walked away. I will always want you. I can't live a lie, running for my life. I will always want you. I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break your walls. All you ever did was wreck me. I came in like a wrecking ball. Yeah, I just closed my eyes and swung. Left me crashing in a blazing fall. All you ever did was wreck me. Yeah, you wrecked me. I never meant to start a war. I just wanted you to let me in. And instead of using force, I guess I should have let you in. I never meant to start a war. I just wanted you to let me in. I guess I should have let you in.
이 나라가 처음에
Don't you ever say I just walked away. I will always want you. I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break you.
자, 그러면 지금 각 조별로 이제 그룹 1부터 시작을 할 건데, 퍼스트 그룹부터 할 건데요. 튜터랑 질문자랑 같이 함께 지금 이렇게 뭐 브레인스토밍이나 이런 거 하셨던 거 있죠? 그거 들고 나오셔서 여기 무대에서 예쁜 얼굴도 보여주시고 같이 나오셔서 여기에서 질문하는 거로 할게요. 괜찮아요? Are you ready to talk? 준비됐어요? 아, 왜 이렇게 돌려서 그래요? Saturday afternoon. 준비됐어요? Are you ready to talk? Yes! Okay, let's go. 자, 그러면 first group 먼저 한번 앞으로 나올까요?
Hi, I'm tutor of Group 1. My name is Kim Kyung-hee. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm listener Nam Kyung-hee.
Nice to meet you. My name is Sung.
And we talked about Wi-Fi, and it is very interesting. It was, and our question is, can we use it anywhere? Wi-Fi.
Nowadays, Wi-Fi is very popular, so you can use it pretty much anywhere that has a router connected to the region.
Why $5 was produced for just 1 year?
So the special $5 on the right-hand side that we had before, that was produced in 2001. So that was the centenary of Federation. So it was 100 years after Australia as a whole was created.
I have one more question. Yes, I thought Kookaburra was laughing, and it is really laughing or just its sound.
It's the sound that the kookaburra makes. It doesn't. It just sounds like laughing, but it's just how it sings.
Thank you.
자, 잘하셨어요. 다음은 세컨 그룹.
Hello, I'm a teacher of Group 2 and my name is Yoon Yang. We discuss about these things and we have two questions. First is that during the lecture you compare some products price in Australia and Korea. So we have a question about the prices in Australia. Most products were more expensive than in Australia than in Korea. So are most products more expensive in Australia than in Korea?
Some products are more expensive, but I guess one thing that Australia has that is cheaper than Korea is steak. So in Australia, you can get a steak for about $10,000. But here, if you go to Outback or TGIF, it's maybe $70,000 or something. So steak in Australia is very popular. All the McDonald's in Australia actually use Australian beef. So beef is more cheaper than Korea.
I have a question about Australia's vacation. Korea has 3 vacations. Spring takes 2 weeks, summer takes 1 month, and winter takes 1 month. Are Australia's vacations different?
So in Australia, school terms, we have terms instead of semesters. Are you talking about schools? School holidays, school vacation? So in Australia, instead of having one semester, semester 1 and semester 2, and winter and summer vacation, we have 4 terms. So we study for 12 weeks, have a break for 2 weeks, study for 12 weeks, 2 weeks, 12 weeks, 1 month.
Thank you.
자, 오스트레일리아는 방학 많아요. 그쵸? 4번씩 12주씩 나눠서 12주 수업 듣고 2주 쉬고 이렇게 12주씩 듣고 수업 듣고 2주 쉬고 가보고 싶어요? Okay, let's go to Australia one day. 자, 그러면 다음 팀 나올까요?
We are from Group 3, and we have several questions to ask you. We summarized what you told us, and it looks like a mess, but yeah.
It's a lot of information.
I have 2 questions. Well, first, we learn Japanese or Chinese and English as second language. In Austria, which language do they learn for second language?
So when I was going through elementary school or primary school, we had an option of either Spanish or Italian, because in my area that I grew up in, there was a lot of Europeans. So they provided a Spanish class or Italian class through grade 1 to 6.
And second, you told us that you wore uniform in kindergarten. Should students wear uniforms including private school?
So all schools in Australia, in elementary and high school, we wear uniforms. Unless you're a technical college, then you can wear your own clothes.
I have 2 questions. First, could you explain me some famous Australian sports?
So in the video that we saw first, maybe you saw some people playing with the big green things and some sticks, right? So that's called cricket, and it's very popular in England and also India and Australia. So that is one main sport that we play. We also have soccer. Soccer is very popular, especially in high school as well. And also tennis.
Then, do you have any episode of your part-time job?
Sorry? What? Episode? Funny story. Oh, okay. In the tower, I remember one time I had to serve 2 glasses of wine to the customers, and because the tower revolves, it's a revolving restaurant. In my mind, I thought there was a step there, but then I had wine spilled all over my white shirt. So I went to the manager, and she said, the only shirt I have is my one. So she gave me her shirt, and it was very tight here. So that was one interesting story.
여자 셔츠를 입었어야 됐대. 그치? 그 와인을 다 쏟아서 흰 셔츠였는데 그거 이제 벗어야 되니까 매니저한테 가서 나 셔츠 달라고 하니까
She was tall.
이렇게 나 선생님처럼 이렇게 작은 분이셨는데 이 셔츠를 준 거야. 그러니까 얼마나 작았겠어. 그치? 엄청 타이트했겠지.
So I hid in the bar for the whole night.
Okay, thank you.
자, 다음 그룹 나올까? 잘했어. 잘했어요.
We are from group 4, and we have some questions. Are there many kangaroos in Australia even nowadays?
So the kangaroos are found in mainly Central Australia, in the wild, and nowadays they are becoming like a bit of a problem. So a lot of the Australian government introduced this plan where we can apply for a license to go hunt kangaroos for their skin or their meat. And nowadays in the supermarket you can buy kangaroo meat. So you can get kangaroo steak, kangaroo sausage, kangaroo fillets, like that. And the taste is very similar to beef, just a little bit more tough. So there are a lot of kangaroos.
And is didgeridoo an instrument for tourists?
For tourists? One more time, please.
Is didgeridoo an instrument for rituals? I mean,
Rituals.
do common people also learn to blow or use?
So originally the didgeridoo is a traditional instrument of the Aboriginals. But nowadays, a lot of people that learn music, especially woodwind instruments, they learn to play the didgeridoo and also incorporate that together with more modern music. So it's not just used for rituals. People can play it for fun or to record for their own music.
And is there any special thing in the Hardware Bridge? Because one of our group members said that she have heard that people can walk through the upper part of the Hardware Bridge.
So there's a program in Australia called the Bridge Climb. So you can either choose the morning bridge climb or the evening bridge climb. So you pay, I think it's about $160, and you go up with the group, you climb the bridge. It's about 1 hour climb to get to the top, and then you take some photos, and then you come back down.
And it's our last question. Who are the people in the paper money?
So they are famous Australians, and also the Queen Elizabeth Queen Elizabeth I, and also some famous Australians. There's an Aboriginal person that invented the, I think it was the pacemaker on the $50 note, and on the $10 I can't remember the names, but they're famous Australians.
Thank you.
그 하버 브리지에 그쵸 클라이밍 올라가는 거 우리 락 클라이밍처럼 재밌을 것 같죠? 오스트리아에 가보면 한번 그 하버 브리지 가서 그 클라이밍 브리지 클라이밍 시도 계단으로 계단으로 올라가는 거래. 락 클라이밍 같은 거 아니고 한번 해보시고요. 다음 그룹 한번 나올까요?
I'm the tutor of Group 5, Yukgiser, and my name is Song Aun. I have a question. How do Australians make use of the inhabitable land?
So Australians use the native land. They use in Australia. There's a lot of agriculture, so they do a lot of farming. So we have a lot of farms in Australia. We also have a lot of gold. Well, we used to have a lot of gold, so we used to mine for gold. And in Central Australia and Western Australia, there's a lot of ore mines that have started being discovered.
And I have another question. Is there any secrets paper money to prevent fake money production?
So actually, there are several security features. I'm not sure if you all had a look, but very similar to Korean one, if you hold the money up to the light, there's a watermark. Also, the window, it's a transparent window, so you can see through it. So if you photocopy the money and you look at the window and you can't see through it, then there's, you know it's fake. There's also the Commonwealth star placed on every note. If you hold it up to the light, it will match up with the other side. So there's half of the star printed on one side and the other half on the other side. So they have to match up.
Thank you.
오스트레일리아는 그쵸, 그 금광도 많이 하고 아그리컬처 농사도 많이 짓고 땅이 되게 넓은데 반해서 사람의 인구는 적다고 그랬잖아요, 그쵸? 그래서 그 넓은 땅에 이제 좀 안 쓰는 사막도 많겠지만 금광도 많이 하고 농사도 짓고 그렇게 한대요.
Thank you for your great lecture of Australia, and we had so many questions to ask, but we chose 4 questions. The first one is, who is in the money? But Group 4 already did it, and we will start from question 2.
I hope to go to travel to Australia. What do you want to say? You should go or eat to me.
So if you go to Australia, I would recommend steak, pub steak. So it's $10 and you can get like fries, salad, and a piece of steak. And also, please try some kangaroo when you're there. And then you can tell all your friends, oh look, I ate a kangaroo.
When did your performance in Opera House?
So I performed at the Opera House in 2005. So I was part of the Sydney State Choir. So we were selected from our school to go perform in 2005.
Why is water expensive?
So Australia is very far away, so we have to import a lot of our products. Right? And also our tax is very high, and also our cost of living is very high due to inflation. So Australia is considered a very expensive country to live in.
Thank you. We are from Group 7 and I'm the tutor, Lee Jae-eun.
I have a question. What are some favorite food in Australia?
Famous foods. In Australia, fine dining has become more popular, so very expensive meals. And we also have, do you know about Michelin star restaurants? Michelin star restaurants in Australia. Because Australia is so multicultural, there's some different types of cuisine available. So you can get Chinese food, you can get Japanese food, also Australian fusion. A lot of restaurants try to do Australian fusion using Australian flavors with other styles of cooking, like the French or Hispanic or Asian style of cuisine.
And I have another
simple question. How much people know about Korean in Australia?
In Sydney, there's a very big Korean population. Like, for example, in where I used to live was very populated by Middle Eastern and Europeans. Whereas if you get closer to the city, there's a lot of Koreans. And so I think because, do you know about the K-pop wave? So I heard about the K-pop wave in Australia through my friends. And I feel like a lot more people nowadays know about Korea and Korean culture and Korean idols.
Thank you.
한류 열풍이 많이 그쵸? 다른 데뿐만 아니라 오스트리아나 이제 유럽이라든지 그치 K-팝으로 인해서 되게 많이 이제 한국에 알려지고 있어요. 이제 그 다음 이제 이어갈 인재들이잖아요, 그쵸? 자, 다음 그룹 나오세요.
Hello, I'm the tutor of Group 8, and we have summarized what you have said about Australia, and we have several questions.
It seems like Australian English has been affected by British English, so I want to know the similarity and difference between the two.
So British English, we were colonized by the British. So as you can tell, maybe the accent is very similar because we pronounce a lot of the same words similarly. But our spelling of some different words is compared to American English is much different. For example, in the word color, you would spell C-O-L-O-R in American English, but we add the U. And same with the favorite, F-A-V-O-U-R-I-T. And we also change a lot of the Z's or Z's to S's. So in emphasize, E-M-P-H-I-S, S-I-S-S-E instead of Z.
I want to know the holiday of Australia.
So in Australia, we have Australia Day, which is January 26th. So it's a public holiday, similar to, I guess, Korean Independence Day, where they honor the World War II. That's not. Anzac Day is April. I've been in Korea for too long. We have Anzac Day, which is similar to like Veterans Day in America, and also Australia Day to celebrate the signing of the Federation document, which is January 26th.
And our last question is, why did you choose to come to Korea?
So the friends that I studied with in university were really interested in K-pop and Korean culture, so they applied for the EPIC program, and they said, oh, why don't you come along too? So it was really a big step for me because it was the first time I traveled overseas. So I never had my passport, I had to apply for my passport, and also when I arrived in Incheon, I was like, oh my gosh, where am I? how do I get through customs? What do I do now? So it was because of my friends that I got to take on this opportunity.
Thank you.
First, thank you for your presentation. And I'm a tutor of Group 9, Lee Yoon-jin, and we are going to ask some questions to you.
I heard that Australia Christmas in summer. What do you do in Christmas?
So Christmas in Australia is a little bit different. So you know how Santa Claus wears the red and like a big jacket and the really warm pants and a hat. In Australia, he wears sunglasses, a short sleeve shirt, and shorts, and also flip-flops or thongs. And he rides kangaroos. So when he comes to Australia, he swaps his reindeer for kangaroos. So in Christmas, we have barbecues. If the weather is really nice, we have a barbecue in the backyard, because usually Australian homes have both a front yard and a backyard. We gather around with our families, and also we can also play cricket and go to the beach or the park. And during Christmas, there's a very, very big game of cricket that is played between Australia and England.
What is your major in university?
So I actually have 3 degrees. My first degree was an associate degree in hotel management. Second degree is a bachelor of hospitality, tourism, and leisure management. And my master's was in commerce, a major in human resources.
And you said about the Aboriginals, and I wonder about how they are living now, where they live or how they used to.
So in Australia, in the central part of Australia, especially in the Northern Territory, northern part of Australia, there are a lot of Aboriginal tribes still living. But nowadays, a lot of Aboriginals are integrated into society. So they work as teachers or doctors in very similar roles as well in the major cities.
Thank you.
We are from group 10 and we have some question for you.
The most famous traditional food in Korea is kimchi. What is the traditional food in Australia?
Like I said before, Australia has a lot of different cultures. So a lot of the foods that Australia has is a fusion of both cultures. But if you're talking about traditional bush food, like back when the first settlers came, you can eat like damper, which is a style of bread made over an open fire in a pot. And also, do you know about like witchetty grubs? So witchetty grubs are an insect that you can find between the tree bark, and a lot of Aboriginals used to use that as a source of protein. Eat that as a source of protein.
And I have another question about airdrop. How does Australia's government preserve airdrop?
So there is actually a national park around Ayers Rock. So it's a protected area that the government is responsible for because it is a natural wonder of Australia. So they do a lot to conserve and also. Actually, there's an urban legend around Ayers Rock. A lot of tourists that come there to climb the rock or to see it try to take like the sand from there, and it's said because it's a very spiritual place for the Aboriginals. There's a lot of curses. So every year there's about 1,000 mail packages that comes from overseas from tourists that have said, the sand brought me bad luck. Like someone in their family passed away, or someone got like really, really ill, or some bad accident happened to them. So that's their urban legend.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
에어슬락에 가시면 절대로 샌드, 모래 가지고 오면 안 되겠죠. 배럴럭을 가지고 오면 되잖아, 그렇죠? 그러니까 혹시라도 방문하면 몰래 그거 흙 몰래 가지고 오면 안 될 것 같아요. 다음 마지막 팀이죠?
Hello, I'm tutor of group 11, and all of us has one questions to you.
Many people all over the world immigrated to Australia. Then, are there any racial discrimination issues to immigrants?
When I was growing up, I grew up in a very, like I said, multicultural community where we had a lot of Europeans, Asians, and also Middle Eastern. Anywhere you go nowadays, that you will be faced with racism. It's just how you decide to deal with it. Sometimes, actually, when I was working as a bartender in Australia for 5 years, I experienced some racism, usually from the older generation, but it's not limited to older generations. They wanted me to get an Australian to serve them instead of me serving them. But the funny thing is, I was actually working with a lot of backpackers, so a lot of people that were traveling on holiday. And actually, I was the only Australian that was born in Australia working at this bar. So I said, unfortunately, we don't have any other Australians here. So he left.
What kinds of part-time job paid most?
So in Australia, hospitality jobs, such as working in fast food restaurants, at restaurants, waitering, also cleaning, you get a base wage of $19.20 per hour. When I left Australia, that was how much you got. So 11,800 per hour. And if you work in hospitality and you work after midnight at a certain time, you also get about 21,000 per hour up until 8 a.m. And on Sunday, if you're lucky enough to work at the restaurant on Sunday, you get 24,000 per hour for each hour all day in Sunday. So hospitality is a good industry.
You told us there are difference between American English and Australia English. Then I wonder what case is different?
So the pronunciation of a lot of words are a little bit different. In Australian language, like I said, it's a very lazy language. So we don't pronounce our R's as much, R's as much. So, like for example, what other words? Other, we would say other, or water. Like, it's very hard to distinguish the R in Australian language. And also, we pronounce a lot of different things differently, like the word can't, we pronounce can't. So the A's and the O's are different.
Have you ever been to academy?
Like private school or academy like Hagwon in Korea? No. In Australia? I was tutored in high school, so I went to a Hagwon for math because I'm not very good at math.
Last, when we saw the videos which you saw the last, it advertised in Australia, and there's process making the wine in Australia. Then is there any famous wines in Australia?
So I've noticed that in Lotte Mart and E-Mart and Home Plus, there's a lot of yellowtail. So yellowtail is from South Australia, and it's a very popular wine for international tourists. So actually in Australia, you can visit the winery or the vineyard and taste the wine and have a look at the process of how they make it as well. So yellowtail is a very popular brand. And also Penfolds. Penfolds I've seen in Korea as well.
Thank you very much.
자, 너무 멋지게 다들 질문들도 잘하고 그쵸? 아주 열정적으로 잘하셨어요. 선생님 감사합니다. Thank you, Michael. 자, 그러면 이거로 지금 이제 우리 마무리하시고요. 어떻게 좋은 시간 된 것 같아요? 네, 질문들도 잘하고 뿌듯했어요. As a Korean. 한국인으로서 아주 긍지를 갖게 됐는데 이렇게 작게 시작을 해서 나중에 그쵸? 이제 꾸준히 이렇게 스피킹하고 이렇게 연습할 기회가 별로 없잖아요. 항상 말하는데 Slow and steady wins the race. 천천히 꾸준히 다음 달에도 여기 또 오실 거죠? 네, 올 거예요. 자, 그러면 잠시 끝나기 전에 공지사항을 알려드릴게요. 다음 달 10월에 CICC 토크는 이제 프랑스 선생님이 오셔서 프랑스 문화 이야기를 말씀하실 거예요. 10월 24일 토요일, 시간은 오늘 같이 이제 10시 30분에 시작하고요. 그리고 혹시 여기 충북국제협력단 홈페이지 포털 사이트에 가시면 충북국제협력단을 치고 이제 바로 가게가 나오면 홈페이지에서 여기 이제 신청을 하시면 돼요. 그리고 학생회원이 되면 이제 여러 가지 여기에서 자원봉사 활동을 할 수가 있는데 또 그 봉사 시간 중요하잖아, 그쵸? 그래서 여기에서 자원봉사 활동을 하시면 봉사 시간 인증을 받을 수가 있어요. 예를 들어서 이제 우리 할 수 있는 이제 학생들이 할 수 있는 게 이제 다문화 자녀 저소득층 학교 진로 1:1 보충 지도, 한국어 수업 같이 이렇게 해주고 하는 거, 그리고 어린이 영어 연극 교실 지도. 그래서 이건 이제 2시간 정도 인증 받을 수 있고요. 또 장애인과 함께하는 빵 과자 만들기 최대 4시간. 다른 데서 이렇게 봉사하는 것도 여러 가지 다양한 경험하는 것도 좋은데 참 좋을 것 같고, 또 사무 보조도 있어요. 그리고 외국 청소년과의 캠프 참여도 있고, 이거 이외에도 그 홈페이지에 들어오시면 더 다양한 프로그램에 대해 자세히 알 수 있을 것 같아요. 그래서 한번 충북국제협력단 들어오셔서 한번 확인해 보시고요. 자, 가기 전에 여기 프랑스 선생님 다음 달 next month is going to be a lecture here. 자, 프랑스 선생님 잠깐 소개 한번 해드릴게요.
Hello, my name is Bastien. I'm from France, and I will be your lecturer for next month, on the 24th.
잘생긴 선생님 만나러 다음 달에 꼭 다 올 거죠. 또 기대하고 있을게요. I hope to see you on 21st in October. See you then. Have a good rest of the day. 오케이, 잘 안녕히 돌아가시기 전에요. 아까 우리 단체 사진 찍기로 했었죠. 선생님이랑 같이 여기 무대에 다 올라오셔서 단체 사진도 또 멋지게 한번 찍고 갑시다.